Hey there, everybody, it's Phil. We are freshly home from the ASUS ZenFone 2 event in New York City, and we've got a phone, we've got a review of it up. Be sure to go read that in its entirety. And almost more important, we've got an interview with ASUS's Johnny Shih and Intel's Aisha Evans about really what makes this phone so special and so important at this day and age. So here comes part one. Take a look. ASUS and Intel are names that we know in North America, certainly, but maybe not quite so much in the mobile space, and that's going to begin changing this year. How much of, a good part of the story is what's inside the phone, but I think the other side of that coin is how you're going to be selling the ZenFone 2 here in North America. First, unlocked, that's very new to many North Americans, but also the channels at which you're selling it, sort of bypassing the normal carrier model and selling directly to consumers. Can you talk a little bit about that and the strategy behind it, and do you expect the same sort of payoff at the end?
Yeah, of course, we understand that the carrier is also very important, but we also believe this is a mega trend, as we mentioned that because of the mobile computing, and people tend to become more open, more collaboration, share, more distributed. So around the world, we already see this kind of trend, including like Japan. I mentioned about that. The SIM-free, is also I know it will take time, okay, but I think we would rather to try to take the lead and directly go from this kind of unlock. And I think if you look at like the T-Mobile, I think also encouraging this kind of so less and less subsidize this kind of approach. And I think like the Google, right? Google also try to have the Google Fi, that kind of approach, a single number, and then yeah. So I think we do believe this is a new trend that we would like to directly jump in.
There was a lot of buzz downstairs. There were a whole lot of ASUS fans downstairs. I don't know who let them all in. I think it was me, actually. But specifically around 4 gigabytes of RAM, and this is the first device,
yes,
I think, to ship with that much.
Right.
At some point, are we hitting diminishing returns there? And it's just, do you need that much RAM? What can I get from having that much RAM and that much free overhead?
I think we have done that kind of test, right? For example, 26 app running there, we do see the performance difference there, because now the thrashing actually is happening, and when the thrashing happening actually is also the battery drain. So I think now we are all talking about how many watts and then what kind of performance, right? So I think it's always important to think about that. Yeah.
When you look at the big picture, I think one of the more impressive stats that you talked about was that 10 million phones already sold since last April.
Yes.
There's probably a lot of people in North America, to your point, who may have heard of ASUS before, but this might be their first introduction to the brand. So what does that mean for you as a company? This could be like your foot in the door to not only sell more phones, but maybe get those people to buy your notebooks and other products for the first time. What do you think about that sort of opportunity?
Of course. Yeah, I think before, frankly speaking, we try to get into this phone market starting from more innovation like the pad phone, okay, with the pad and phone, that kind of innovation. Right. But this time it's the real, real penetrate into the mainstream, and that's why we have to have the sharpest weapon, okay, that can really drive the luxury to the extreme. So I think every performance is one thing, and the camera is another thing. Also like the Zen UI, everything we actually very carefully and try to ensure that always the experience first.
Johnny, you're one of my favorite executives to watch on stage, and have been for some time. So, flat out, tell me, what's your favorite feature of this phone now? Pick just one. The modem and the radio, right?
I think still, actually our sharp, version, like the low light mode, like the Super HDR. That one, I think, is what we spend a lot of, engineering effort to try to differentiate with our competitor. Okay, the performance monster, I think I also enjoy that because it also takes a lot of effort. The the breakthrough is actually in the midnight. We have this kind of architecture, and still can have a bigger kind of battery, and then also good for. Sometimes people may try to think about everything metal. I think that's also a challenge to the radiation,
For the RF?
RF to the RF portion. So sometimes you always will see the difference. We have been driving like the start antenna, okay, that kind of approach. But I think you will still see the difference. Sometimes in the toilet, you can still feel the difference, right? Because fundamentally, this kind of shielding. Okay, even you try to use the start antenna, that kind of approach, I think you still will have, when you do the comparison, this is physics.
Yeah, it's physics.
The physics, yeah.